Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Product Biz Podcast. I am so excited to be chatting with you today about something that all small business owners have to come to terms with and have to face in order for them to grow their business. And it's all about something that may be sabotaging your business. And at the start of this podcast, and this is the perfect place to start with this episode, because if you're a product-based business owner who hasn't seen the progress that you want in your business, then mastering what we talk about today is one of the easiest ways to guarantee your success. So let's lay the foundation. 33% of Americans say that the fear of failure holds them back from starting a business. But if you're here, that means you're most likely a small business owner with a handmade product business, so you've beat those odds. Fear of failure didn't stop you from starting your business, and that's something that you should be so proud of. But one thing I want to challenge and ask you one step further is, has the fear of failure potentially stopped you from being successful in your business? Or another way to ask is, have you reached the success that you want in your business and in your life? And if you haven't, then this episode is dedicated to you. Our very first episode is all about what's really sabotaging your business. And today I'm going to talk to you all about the top mistake small business owners make when growing their business. And after this episode, you'll have a clear path on how to look out for this mistake, how to handle it, and how to grow from it. And I can't wait to hear what you think. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick introduction in case we haven't met. My name is Monica Little, and I'm the owner of an organic skincare small business called Plant-Based Beauty. I've been running Plant-Based Beauty for over 3 years now. I started it while I was at a corporate full-time job. It was my passion project, my hobby. I absolutely loved it. And a little over 2 years ago, I left my full-time job to focus on plant-based beauty entirely and have learned so much along the way and had an awesome time building my business. And in the last 2 years, I've built it to over 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. And now I am here to share what I've learned with you. It's also been a really fun journey because over the last year, I've also been working with small business owners inside my coaching program, Product Biz Academy, to really coach them on how to grow their business, how to get more sales, how to believe in themselves, how to step into that successful business owner role that they are and build their business in a way that gives them the freedom that they want. And it's been honestly the best time of my life working with small business owners inside Product Biz Academy. But I also just want to mention here that the goal of my podcast is to help you, to teach you the lessons that I've learned along the way, to take you along on that journey, and to share what's really helped me with my business. So let's dive into today's topic. If you are like most product business owners, then you've probably felt one of these fears before. Maybe you've walked into a store with the confidence that you could muster and you pitched your products to the store owner and they said, no, I'm not interested, or they acted like they were too busy to even listen to you. And all of a sudden you start feeling this fear of rejection and this fear of getting a no. Or maybe you see other products that you think are just so much better than yours or more professional or further along, and you don't feel confident in sharing about yours because you might wonder, who would want my simple products compared to all of these other options? And you start to have this fear of your products not being good enough. Or maybe you're scared of really putting yourself out there about what will people think, what will people say if you show up on your Instagram stories or Instagram reels. Maybe you wonder, what will my friends and family think if I'm dancing on a reel on Instagram, or what will these random strangers think? And then you start to develop this fear of being judged. There's also the chance that maybe you haven't tried any of the things that I just mentioned above because you decided before you even started that it's not going to work, or what you do won't be good enough. So why even bother in the first place? And this disguises itself as perfectionism, but really what that is the fear of not being good enough. And I mention all of these because those are things that I've worked through as a small business owner. Those are examples of every single thought that's gone through my head in some of those situations. And at the bottom of it, what it is the fear of failure. The fear of going all in because what if it doesn't work out? What if it's a waste of time? What if it's a waste of money? What if I just don't have what it takes? What if I give it my all and it just doesn't work out? And this is the fear of chasing your dreams, the fear of playing big, which makes us play small. And the biggest myth that we buy into is that the successful small business owners that we look up to are fearless and somehow free of all these fears, these worries, these doubts. But newsflash, they all have the same fears that you do. They just choose not to let them stop them. Because it's not a matter of being fearless. It's a matter of being brave enough to face your fears and let your dreams lead the way instead of your fears leading the way. And that's what today's episode is all about. Fear and how to overcome fear and how to find fear, how to know if fear is actually there and how to work through it and what to do with it. And that is the key to success. And I don't want you to roll your eyes and say, oh my gosh, seriously, fear? 100%. This is a game changer. And by the end of this episode, you will know why and you will know how to overcome it too. But first, I want to define fear. Then I want to give you some examples of how fear shows up. And then I want to give you the tools to overcome fear and how to keep making progress in your business. So let's define fear first. One thing that we need to level set is everyone has fears. There's no such thing as being fearless because it's a natural human instinct. It just means we're interacting with the unknown. So you cannot avoid fear. There's no one in this world who can avoid fear. And if your goal is to be fearless and to wait until you feel 100% confident and 100% ready, that will never happen for anyone. It will always be there, especially as small business owners, as we're trying something new, as our businesses grow and we're in this uncharted territory. And once you become successful or once you start to get the hang of things, it doesn't magically disappear. This fear is always there. Your fears just change. Now you're scared of other things, but fear is always there. But there's one truth. Learning how to overcome fear, how to overcome disappointment, how to overcome frustration, how to overcome embarrassment. That is part of the journey to being successful. And that's something that every single small business owner on this path has to overcome in their own way, one way or another. We are meant to feel these fears, but you need to know that we're not meant to live by them. We're meant to feel it, but we can be both terrified and brave. And that's the main difference between a struggling small business owner and a successful small business owner. A lot of people avoid taking action on their dreams because they fear this potential of disappointment. In case it doesn't go the way they want it to, in case it backfires, in case they look stupid, in case it's a waste of time. But that's just the potential for disappointment. There's still this other side of the coin, which is the potential for greatness, the potential for growth, for success, for being challenged and reaching our potential. When you avoid taking action on your dreams because you may be disappointed, what happens if you listen to those fears every single day? You end up saying no over and over, not only to risks, but you're saying no to growth. You're saying no to opportunities. You're saying no to step up and show what you're made of. And if you say no that often, then life, all it does is it becomes mundane. It becomes boring. You're never saying yes or going further or making progress. You're literally stuck in the same spot every single day. And when you think about it, if you don't risk anything, you risk even more because you're running your business so cautiously that you might not have ran it at all. And there's no successful small business owner out there that has ever played small and been able to get away with it. So the real risk is not the potential for disappointment. The real risk is 10 years from now wondering, what if? What if I just showed up on Instagram? What if I just put myself out there more? What if I took that big, scary chance that I've talked myself out of? Wondering what could have been because you never took a chance on yourself or your business. When you have these fears, the fear of judgment, the fear of going all in, the fear of failure, that's what stops you, and that's what stops your success. That's the number one thing that's sabotaging your business. And being brave against your fears is the only way to make progress and reach success. So that's a little bit about fear. What is fear? Let's talk about a couple real life examples. And it's been really awesome because I've been living some of these examples myself, but also reliving them through conversations with people inside Product Biz Academy. And it's just really amazing to see this all come full circle. And I want you to listen to how the fears show up. And I want you to think through any creative ideas that you're working on, any new projects, anything outside of your comfort zone that you've been contemplating, and see where these fears may be coming up for you as well. So first example is I've been working with Tarjinder inside Product Biz Academy. She's one of the members that I work with one-on-one. And when she first joined Product Biz Academy, she already had this notion that she would be leaving her full-time job sooner or later. And it was awesome because we had a one-on-one call a couple days ago, and she came to this call so inspired and just bright, and you could see the inspiration coming out of her saying, oh my gosh, I think I'm ready to leave my full-time job way sooner than I ever expected. And she was telling me about how she came to this decision, and she talked to her husband, and he was super supportive. And then she started to tell me how she had this inspiration. She felt so sure of herself. She had a great conversation with her husband who was supportive of it. And then the next day, she started to have hesitation. She started to ask herself, well, what if I just grow my business a little bit more before I leave my full-time job? Get it a little bit further along so it's making a little bit more money. Do I really want to leave my steady income right now? I have some more bills coming up. Is this really the right time, or should I wait? What if I just wait a little bit longer? Am I really ready? Those were the hesitations that came up. And those are the fears that you need to listen to. Those very subtle fears that sound like you're being rational, that sound logical, that sound practical. Fear is camouflaged. It deflects. It is our autopilot, and it's just camouflaged as awareness. But an easy way to know if it's fear is this massive inspiration that she had first. When you have inspiration followed by self-doubt, that is your sign to go all in. That's the equation. Inspiration plus self-doubt equals go all in, because that's when you know it's fear. When you feel so inspired, but then you doubt yourself. When you start thinking practically and logically and make excuses, every reason why you shouldn't, but you were just so inspired and so ready. That is fear trying to sabotage you, to play small, to play comfortable, to stay in the exact same spot that you are now. So it's that voice that you need to find. And I don't even want to say the word voice, because it's not a voice. It's not like you hear this other voice that has a different tone that you can identify as fear. It's literally your logical brain. And it's trying to rationalize you out of a situation. It's trying to keep you safe. But the key is that massive inspiration. If you have that inspiration first of an idea that you want to do, that you want to try out, that you want to invest in, that you want to go all in with, and then you start to talk yourself out, that is the combination of fear trying to sabotage you. And that is when you want to go all in. And a second example that I want to give you, again, just to start to listen to how fear comes up, what it sounds like, is for this podcast. I had a great idea to start a podcast. Well, hopefully it's a great idea. We'll see. But I have really just been thinking of how can I connect with small business owners in a more personal way. I feel like I have just all these lessons to share and stories and things that have really helped me that I want to share with other people. And that's my purpose in life, is to help others and to provide this type of impact where people can learn and grow from what I've been through so they don't have to do it themselves. And I had this massive wave of inspiration of podcast is a way to do it. I can talk to people and they can listen, and we can grow in these lessons that I've learned by sharing them through a podcast. And I was so excited. And the next day, when I was like, all right, now it's time to actually make this come to life, I had to start looking into buying a microphone and figuring out the software to use and how to even make a podcast, because I have no experience in this at all. So it would be a lot of time to figure it out. And it was so funny because I had this massive wave of inspiration, and then I started to rationalize it. And then I started to think practically, and I was saying to myself, well, you know what? I have so many other things going on right now. Now isn't the right time. Do I really have the money to invest in a new project, something else? Do I really want to take this project on? Because what if it doesn't work out? What if I create an episode and I listen to it and I think it sucks? And what if other people think it sucks too? That was fear camouflaging itself as being rational and being practical. And I am an extremely practical person. So I didn't even realize that it was fear. And that's the tricky part. You have to be so present and so aware to notice and then ask, is this really how I feel? Do I really not want to do this? Or is fear trying to keep me in my comfort zone? And when I realized it was fear, I started to laugh. Because for me personally, I haven't had this big of a fear moment in a while. And I was actually really happy to experience it. And I love this uncomfortable growth. I love when fear challenges me. And I listened to a podcast recently by Brooke Castillo, and she said, I always put myself in harm's way. And that's me to a T. Like, throw me in with the wolves and let me figure it out. I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be challenged. I want to grow. And I feel like personally, I haven't had a lot of that really uncomfortable growth in the last year. So one of my goals this year is to do more of that, to do more of what scares me. So when I had this podcast inspiration followed by self-doubt, I started to laugh. And that's when I came up with the equation of inspiration plus self-doubt equals go all in. And the reason I started to laugh is because I recognized it. And the next thing I said to myself was, all right, game on, bitches. Let's effing go. Like, I will not let fear drive how I live my life or how I run my business. And I know I'm on the right path when I feel this fear. I know that I'm going in harm's way and I'm doing something scary and I'm being uncomfortable and I'm growing. And from that moment, I told myself, I need to listen to fear, like listen for it and identify it. And if I am able to, and it's telling me to stop, that's my sign to go, because this means I will actually do something big and I'll grow and I'll be challenged and I'll try something new and I'll grow not only as a person, but also as a business owner. And as long as that inspiration is behind it and fear is nudging me the opposite way, I'm going to do it. No matter if it's out of my budget or I think I don't have the time, because the thing is, if you put your skin in the game, if you commit to something, if you are dedicated to it, you will figure the rest out. The money will follow, the time will follow, the resources will follow when you commit to it. So when you face that fear and instead of saying, okay, you're right, I'm going to wait, you say, no, I'm going to do this, everything will work out. And if it doesn't, you're forced to figure it out. And that is the beautiful part of going outside of your comfort zone. That is growth, when you're forced to figure it out. And the third example that I want to walk you through, again, with this podcast. So I laughed at that fear. And then I started to buy the microphone, figure everything out. And I was like, you know what? Instead of me looking through YouTube videos on how to do this, I would like to have a podcast coach who can help me, someone who's been there, done that. And I can launch this podcast way quicker than trying to learn it on my own. And I looked through some recommendations and found a name of someone who would be able to help. And I went to their sales page to sign up. And right before I was about to sign up, I was thinking to myself, well, you know what? I really could just look on YouTube, and why don't I give this a try on my own? And, you know, I can just see if I can figure it out. And if it doesn't work, then maybe I'll come back and purchase this course. And that was another moment of fear. Inspiration plus self-doubt equals go all in. Was I going all in by saying I'm going to figure it out on my own and take a month to figure it out? Or am I going all in by signing up with that coach because she will set me up for success and I'm going to launch this in a week instead of 4 weeks? Going all in means putting your skin in the game. And like I said, then you'll figure it out. Then you're forced to figure it out. And that's like the fun part. So I challenge you, if you're telling yourself now's not the time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough resources, I don't have enough support, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, but you are inspired to do something, then I challenge you to look at that as fear and to not let that fear sabotage your dreams, your goals, your potential. And people start to back down from their fears right when it gets interesting. Right when it's not easy anymore, as soon as it gets painful or challenging or requires growth, that's when people start to back down. And if you let fear back you down, you miss the good part. You miss the transformative part. When you push past the difficulty and you enter into success, that's what's on the other side of fear. And the fun part, the success, you have to work for it. But you don't just jump from success to success, from high moment to high moment, from bright moment to bright moment. It ebbs and flows. There's challenges in between every single success. And those challenges are growth and fears that need to be faced and new skills that need to be learned and figuring out different ways to do what you're doing and how you manage yourself between those bright moments, between success points, when things are hard. That shows how dedicated and committed and devoted you are to your business. And that's where the real work is, but also where the real success is. And I personally think this path of being a small business owner is hard on purpose because it weeds people out who don't really want it. Everything is just a test. If you want it bad enough, then you have to face those fears. And if you don't want it bad enough, and you're not willing to face those fears, and you're not willing to choose bravery, well, that's why it's hard to weed out those people who don't really want it, who aren't going to risk it, who don't want to put in that effort, who won't face those fears, who will see them and back down and go back to normal everyday life. The small business owners who are successful are the ones who overcome those fears. And not a lot of people will actually do that, and that's key. This is like the biggest takeaway. So many people say the small business industry is so saturated. There's so many people who sell the same items that I do. And I think about myself with organic skincare. There's hundreds, thousands of skincare companies out there that are small businesses that are in Chicago, around the US. But how many of them are going all in with their business and facing fears every day and doing something that scares them and failing and getting up and trying again? I guarantee that if you do that, you're in the top 10%, and that's what separates you from all the other small businesses. So it's not a saturated market. It's saturated with a ton of small business owners who just want to post on Instagram their product and not show their face because they're scared. It's saturated with small business owners who put their products on Etsy but don't invest in learning how to actually optimize Etsy. It's saturated with people who are doing the bare minimum. It's not saturated with people who are facing their fears and going all in day after day. And that's how you make your mark. That's how you reach success. That's the key. But before you get there, you have to learn how to identify fear. And it's when you start to question and doubt yourself. And when you start to hear those thoughts of, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, what will people think? Anything like that. When you identify it, you have to become present and aware to your thoughts and identify it. That's a clue. And it might seem like nothing, just a random thought that's coming through your face, but it's not. That is a clue. And follow that clue and lean into those fears instead of letting them stop you. And that is what can lead you to an amazing and inspiring life when you follow each clue. And eventually that is what will lead you to your success. And you'll also have the satisfaction of knowing that you lived your life conquering all of your fears. So you should keep following the self-doubt. You should be grateful for the self-doubt because that's showing you where you should invest your time, where you should challenge yourself, where you can grow, where the opportunities exist. And that is a beautiful thing. Every time I question myself, that is telling me where to go and what to do in order to reach success. It's that easy. When you doubt yourself, go do it. When you say you don't have the time or money, find the time and money. Put the skin in the game, make it happen, and see how you show up for yourself when you put your skin in the game. So if you can find that self-doubt that's saying, hey, I'm doubting you, XYZ, whatever reason may be, and if you can decipher that and translate that to here is where I can grow, here is where I need to spend my time, that is going to be massive. And this is such an exciting place to be. And when you do that, that's when you create expansion. So start approaching your fears like they are the doors to unlock the next level of your life. Because when you decide to experience fear in a way where it no longer scares you, that's when the opportunities are endless. And if you're not afraid of failing, if you're not afraid of being judged, if you're not afraid of the bad things potentially happening and just learning from them instead of being scared about them, and instead you lean in and take fear as a clue. And if fear shows up, you're going to do it and you stick to your word and you actually do it. And if you're not afraid of failure, imagine all that you will do. So don't let your own brain fulfill you from reaching your potential. We all feel fear, but we are not fear. You are not fear. I am not fear. It's not a trait that you have. It's not a ball and chain that's tied to you. It's a feeling. And you can change your feelings at any time. We don't have to choose fear. All of your power comes from the decisions that you make in your life. So how do you become brave when fears are present? The key is to do exactly what you're scared of doing, exactly what you're talking yourself out of, and build trust in yourself that you can overcome those fears and make something of it and reach success and build momentum. And that is how you reach your goals. And a lot of times fear makes us believe that if we don't win the first time, then we shouldn't continue to play. But you should be doing things that scare you, and you should be failing. And if not, your goals aren't big enough. You should be scared when someone says, what are your goals? What are you working on? What are you trying to achieve? We shouldn't avoid fear, because then we're scared of our potential. And instead, we should go after it and go get it. And you want to make your goals big. And instead of living a small life, hiding from your own self, hiding because of your fears, making your dreams smaller and smaller and smaller, think about how short life is. We don't have time to play so small. Instead, you want to make your lives big and make your goals even bigger and keep up-leveling your business and your life from these massive goals that you set for yourself. And along the way, you have to be willing to experience failure. It's not pleasant, but it's the price to pay to live to your potential. The more willing you are to fail and to face fears, the more success you will have. And that will differentiate you from everyone else and lead you to your success. One thing that I realized when outlining this episode is I strive to live to my fullest potential. And I have these fears of doing things outside of my comfort zone and challenging myself and growing myself. I have these moments of self-doubt. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, every single one that I outlined were my own fears that I've experienced. But my biggest fear of all, my true fear, is not living to my potential. The day-to-day fears of being judged and not good enough, those are nothing. But if I listen to them, I will never reach my potential. And that is my biggest fear of all. So you get to choose. Do you want to be set back by these little fears of judgment and going all in? Or do you want to be set back by your biggest fear of never living to your full potential? So I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to be great, and I will never settle for being good. But greatness comes with taking action and being brave against your fear. You would never be able to call yourself great if you never take a chance. And the fact that you are here, it means that you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you are going all in with your business. And you know what? Even if you do fail, damn, will you feel good for facing your fears. It's the best feeling in the world. And along the way, you grow into your potential when you take that leap of faith and you choose bravery instead of being scared by your fears. So I challenge you to think through 2 questions over the next week. How am I getting in my own way? And how can I best live to my full potential? And remember that fortune favors the bold. So if you're scared, you better go all in. And that wraps up our episode about what's sabotaging your business and how to overcome it. So thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope this was a new perspective for you. And I hope you also follow me on Instagram. My handle is Monica_Little_. Please follow me and send me a DM if this resonated with you, if you're feeling fired up, if you're amped up, if you're listening to your fears, if you have any realizations, please send me a DM. I love to hear from you. And also click the link in my bio to join my email list. I send out weekly, bi-weekly inspiration, tips and tricks to grow your business, both practical tips and mindset tips. So if this interested you, then I think getting on my email list will be another fun spot for us to hang out. But I want to leave you with one thing. I know we talked a lot about going all in with your business and not letting the fear of, I don't have the time or money or resources, or maybe I'll do this later, or I'm scared of failure. I'm scared I'm not capable of doing it. I'm scared that I won't be able to grow my business. Well, if you are currently looking for a way to overcome those fears and go all in with your business and put some skin in the game, And if this episode lit some fire underneath your ass, then I would like to invite you to join my coaching program, Product Biz Academy. I am looking for 3 additional small businesses to join starting in May to round out the group of 6 total that I'll be working with. And this is a program to grow your business, to start believing in your business, to make the progress in your business, to build it to the potential that you know it is possible. I know deep down there somewhere you have this massive vision for your business, and I want to help you bring it to life. So if you're ready to take that next step to invest and go all in with your business, send me a DM. Tell me you want to learn more about Product Biz Academy. It's a 3-month coaching program with modules and one-on-one support and group support, and it's an amazing community that you'll be joining. So I'm excited to work with you. If that's something that sounds interesting, send me a DM and we can chat more about it. And thank you so much for spending time with me today. I will be back on here soon.